Let's talk commodities with a focus on precious metals. In fact, looking at gold, another record overnight, hitting $4,218 an ounce. Spot silver, another record that was up more than 3% overnight. Records tumbling everywhere in precious metals. Brian Chu is joining us from Australian Gold Fund. Brian, welcome.
Hi, Andrew. Great to be here.
This is an amazing rally we're seeing at the moment, isn't it? Is it sustainable? What's actually driving it at the moment? Because I mean, particularly you talk fundamentals, you talk the technicals, it all looks overblown.
Well, the thing is, I just came back from the Australian Gold Conference across the road in Crown Towers, Barangaroo, ran by Kerry Stevenson, the Gold Lady. It was a packed event. And furthermore, you go up the road to Martin Place and you see ABC Bullion. They've got now lining up long queues, and I heard apparently appointments might be pushed back to even 2 weeks. So people are chasing gold and silver, but is other fundamentals still there? I believe partly there is, and there's also another way to look at it. Some people say that gold and silver are making new highs, and they're going, is there going to be a big pullback? My view is, don't look at gold and silver in dollar terms. Ask yourself, what is the worth of the Australian dollar, the US dollar, Chinese yuan, all the world currencies? They're dropping in value because of the amount of stimulus that we've seen being created in the last 10 years, especially the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, you're talking about that debasement trade then?
It is absolutely a debasement trade. And the question is, how many governments, regardless of whether conservative or liberal, are going to have plans to cut spending, to try to rein in the deficit? And I can't see either side of governments around the world doing exactly that. They'll have to borrow from the central banks, and therefore currency debasement, I think, will continue. There could be short-term cyclical corrections as people move from one commodity to another, one asset class to another. But are they going to go and take safe haven in fiat currency? Probably not.
So as a result, of course, Brian, we have seen gold and silver stocks rally.
Yes.
Where are you seeing value at the moment?
Right, and we were talking a little bit about it. People are chasing producers. We have seen ASX Gold Index now up to 17,000, almost 500. At the beginning of the year, it was about 8,000, 9,000. So we've seen a rise in gold stocks by over 110%. Are there still value in producers? There is upside potential. I wouldn't call it value from my valuation indicators. The value comes to the explorers and the early stage developers. And even those companies are running. Nova Minerals yesterday jumped 80%, and today it is pulling back slightly. Healthy pullback, I think. And you have all these companies now on a day-to-day basis rising over 20%. And we were talking about it earlier. Do you think you missed that? You want the correction? I think there will be, even if they don't correct, some of these smaller companies, sub $100 million, they are, the assets are good. For example, I had a chat with the CEO of Nexus Minerals. I had a chat with the CEO of Maxa Resources, Waratah Minerals. These companies, they have near-term production, and they are valued quite nicely below $150 million. And I think Waratah Minerals is about $300 million, but because they've got something more substantial coming up.
So to be clear then, you wouldn't be chasing the larger producers?
Oh, I wouldn't.
You're looking in the developers and explorers then for the other opportunity. Greater gains.
Yes, that's right. But you've got to write those ones carefully, because some of them will use this rally to raise capital. We have just recently seen, for example, Barton Gold Holdings. They raised $17.5 million, but led by Frank Templeton, the international precious metals leader. They are in there. And that's why these companies are using this opportunity to raise funds. There might be a pause in the rally, and that might be the opportunity to come in. But you've got to be very selective on which companies to choose, just because you've got to look for asset quality.
What about silver? Now, obviously, in terms of stocks, there's not much to choose from here.
Yeah, it's a smaller pool, and I believe a lot of people love silver. A lot of gold enthusiasts have been hounding me about, can you recommend me more stocks, silver stocks, Brian, in my gold stock newsletters? And I say to them, you got to be selective. There are some which are much earlier stages in areas that have greater jurisdiction risk, but we've recently seen great progress in legacy mineral holdings. We've also, they've just had a deal with, I believe, Rio Tinto. And you also have James Bay Minerals purchasing the Shafter silver mine last week and raising, I believe, $30 million for it. So there's a couple of choices over there that you can choose from.
Are you seeing opportunity beyond, obviously, gold and silver when you look at precious metals in total, particularly platinum, palladium, and so on? They're running as well?
They are. Platinum has been probably, I dare say, platinum is the best performing metal. It is year to date. It's actually up, I think, about 80%. More than gold, more than silver, but platinum stocks, there are very, very few. You have to look for companies that are more in the earlier stages. So you have Chalice Mining, of course. They're currently the biggest one. Future Metals is a much smaller one. And I probably tend to suggest, for myself at least, I prefer to hold more of the ETF at the moment, simply because the volatility of these companies and the early stages mean they were hungry for cash for further development.
So what, that precious metals ETF?
The ETF. So ETPMPT is the Global X Platinum ETF. ETPMPD is the Palladium ETF.
And Brian, what would it take for the precious metals market to
pull back?
Yeah. I mean, is there likely to be a significant event, or is it simply the market, the herd, running out of puff?
Well, given that we've seen in people lining up to buy bullion around the world, now they're saying even Singapore, there's queues. I'm receiving videos about that. The price you have, commodities, you can't really attach a value to it. With companies, you can attach a value based on the underlying asset, their management potential, their financial position. But with commodities, it's really a lot about sentiment and the perception of global supply and demand. What would potentially drive a correction in gold and silver and precious metals? Number one is overstretched market. Number two is any signs of central banks being able to tighten liquidity, which means governments have to actually be able to rein in the deficits. But most democratic countries don't want to do that. They want to secure the votes. So in that case, when you see even more people going to buy precious metals and your leading investment banks are giving what I would call outlandish forecasts, then that might probably signal the top of the market. And with gold stocks and silver stocks, you might see them pull back earlier because of capital raising, because of profit taking. But either way, in the longer term, I remain bullish simply because there is no macroeconomic and fiscal direction to suggest a pullback and change in their policies.
Thank you for watching my interview with AusBiz. To learn more about our work, visit the Australian Gold Fund website. Also, check out Gold Hub Australia for live precious metals price quotes and insights. You can also sign up for our regular updates. And don't forget to visit the AusBiz website. All our links are in the description. Please leave your comments and thoughts on where gold, silver, and the US dollar are heading below. Thank you very much. God bless.